All right, well, welcome to another episode of Dark Dialogue Shadow Chat Sessions. I'm your host, John.
I'm Angela, and I'm loving these. These are so fun.
Yeah, we hope the listeners enjoy them. Honestly, even if you don't, we're probably going to keep doing them because we just have so damn much fun doing them.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully you're enjoying them too. And if you have any, crazy, weird shit stories that you want us to cover, any dumb criminals or anything,
No doubt. Bring it on.
let us know. Info@darkdialogue.com. You can get all of us there. You can reach out to us on social media. We're pretty much everywhere.
We are.
You can find us and
Send an owl, carrier pigeon, doesn't matter.
yeah, whatever. Send an owl. That would be
very
to like
fun.
Hogwarts or something.
Yes.
If they send it,
I'm waiting for my letter still.
I don't even want to go to Hogwarts.
You don't?
I don't know. It would be pretty cool, I guess.
I would probably spend most of my time stuck on those damn stairs that move.
Well, see,
I know me.
the thing with Hogwarts is I would be the guy that just stumbled out into the tree that beats the piss out of you or whatever.
The Whomping Willow.
Yeah, or like went out for a walk in the woods where the, I don't know, half-horse man dude, wherever the hell he is. Or
Oh, yeah.
wasn't there
Once.
a dragon that was out there too? Didn't Hagrid keep he kept his brother the troll.
His brother, yes.
Yeah. I'd walk out there and the troll guy would smash me with his club or something. I don't know.
Now, if he took a bell, he liked the bell.
Yeah, I typically walk around with a bell in
Well,
my pocket.
you need to start.
Yeah, I think I was just...
There's the lesson in all of
I just
this.
won't go to platform, whatever, 3/4 or whatever it was.
Platform 9 3/4.
Yeah, that one. See, I'm the Harry Potter.
Harry Potter nerd.
We're getting off of this train.
10 points for Gryffindor, just saying.
Yeah. So anyway, are we ready for some news stories?
No, because I'm reading this.
Don't it involve? I don't know.
I'm reading this and it's terrible, and I don't like it.
Yeah, this story is terrible. So let's jump into the news.
Okay.
So a woman stabbed 40 times and left bleeding in private parts in an act of revenge. This is
Terrible.
it's insane.
What is that?
That's the murder
The
weapon.
implement of the stabbing. Got it.
Yeah. So in Birmingham, UK, a 19-year-old woman identified as Sarah was found stabbed 40 times in a residential alley on May 14th, 2025, in what West Midlands police called a, quote, act of revenge. Her ex-partner, that's not right. Her ex-partner, Maud Rafi, is suspected in the death. So the brief is Maud, I don't know how the hell you say this cretin's name.
Probably Maud.
Maud Rafi.
Maude.
Mohd.
Oh. I don't know then.
Yeah.
Anybody's guess.
Mohd Rafi, age
Modi?
20, is suspected.
Oh, Rafi.
I just call him douchebag.
There you go. That works too.
Is suspected in the death of his 19-year-old girlfriend, Sarah, in Birmingham, UK. The poor girl was found stabbed 40 times with a freaking screwdriver and left bleeding in her private parts, end quote. And that's according to a harrowing autopsy. The victim had been reported missing on Saturday evening in India. Police later discovered her brutally murdered body on a farm on Sunday. The autopsy report states, quote, there were more than 40 stab wounds all over her body, including her private parts, and she likely died of excessive bleeding, end quote. This worthless freaking animal asshat dipshit bastard claimed that he was her boyfriend and had been upset that she was, quote, speaking to another man for the past 3 months.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding. I wish I was, but
I wish you were too.
yeah, no. So, how can communities prevent escalating domestic disputes?
I don't know that they can. quit selling screwdrivers. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the tough one on here is there just isn't a lot of information about this case, so I don't know.
But communities can't prevent.
Well, again, I don't know, because I don't know if they were actually in a relationship.
True.
She's dead, and he claimed that he was her boyfriend, but the article made it sound like that's what it was, is he was claiming it. So I don't know. So I don't know.
How does that make it better in his mind? I mean, pretend you're him.
No, the point that I was trying to make, though, is I don't know if this is like a stalking situation and there was something like a restraining order or something. And if that is the case, then yeah, we've gotten on that soapbox before. The restraining orders are worthless.
Yeah.
They're worthless pieces of paper. And I don't know what the answer is, but I do think that communities need to do something. And again, I don't know that is the case here.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if they were in a domestic relationship and then she left him and he was stalking her. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
maybe she didn't know him at all, and that's
maybe
even more tragic.
Exactly. I mean, she'd been talking to another man for 3 months. Makes me think that if they were in a relationship, she ended it and was moving on. So I don't know, but I do know that if there was any kind of, restraining order or anything like that, this is just a common tell of how they fell. And I don't know exactly what the reason is, but waiting for somebody to actually harm somebody before we do something with them, I don't think is the answer.
No.
So what's the most intense argument that you've overheard in public?
I'm not in public a whole lot.
Yeah.
I don't like public.
I don't like public either.
So it would have to be something from many years ago, and it was probably in a bar.
Yeah, there's plenty of that.
So that I cannot really fully answer that one.
For me, I will have to say that I have intervened in more than one domestic situation where I saw a guy hitting a woman, and I have zero tolerance for that shit. So I've gotten physical on more than one occasion over those situations. And I would say that that's probably the most intense argument that I've witnessed.
Right.
Now, I've been in fights where it's gotten pretty intense too, but as far as like witnessing, I would probably have to say, that. So does this story shock you?
Oh, that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because it does and it doesn't, which is terribly sad.
Well, that is exactly why I added the fourth question, and that is, what do you think it says that we're not shocked by stories like this?
That the world is becoming a very terrible place, and like you've said many, many times, I don't know how we're going to fix it, but we need to try.
I agree. This is a story that 100 years ago would have been like headline news everywhere, because
that dude would have been hung.
Oh yeah. But it would have scandalized the world probably. And now I have trouble finding these stories.
Yeah.
Like this one is poked away on one little newspaper from the UK.
Yeah. Just same shit, different day.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is, like you said, but as a society, we've got to say enough is enough.
But we're trying.
Yeah. Well, I have a big mouth and I'm using it.
I was going to say,
so
that's kind of something that you and I have discussed
multiple times.
Is our goal.
Yeah.
So we're going to try. I don't know how far we'll get, but knowing you how I know you, you might take your last breath trying.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're one of my favorite people.
And if I can make one piece of shit miserable in my life, then I have been a success. Like if this show somehow makes a worthless asshat miserable, then I've been a success. I've lived a successful life.
I will say you're part the way there in the respect that I have personally heard people say you have broadened their vocabulary in the respect that they use the word asshat now a lot.
I love that.
And they're okay with that.
I don't know. I guess like Johnisms or something.
It's Johnisms. I love it.
All right, let's look at the next story.
Let's do. Is it better?
Not a lot.
Oh, man. Sandman.
Amish man charged with murder after Ohio woman, 28, found dead with goat.
Did it have to say with goat?
Well,
tell me the story.
So, this worthless piece of shit.
His eyes are creepy.
Oh, yeah. He's a creepy looking Amish psycho.
Not that all Amish are creepy psychos.
No. This particular
I'm
Amish
saying, the
guy,
way you said that made me feel like we needed to reiterate that we...
No, actually, I have a ton of respect for the Amish.
Exactly. They're hard workers, but this guy's creepy looking.
Yeah. So this worthless pile of shit was taken into custody after an Ohio woman was found dead with her goat. So old Sammy boy.
So the goat was dead too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So old Sammy
boy. Sure, I understand. Old Sammy boy, sorry.
The Amish wanker has been charged with murder following the discovery of Rosanna Kinsinger's body. Kinsinger was 28 and lived in Pomeroy, Ohio. She was found dead alongside her goat on Thursday, March 13th. Deputies responded on that day to a report of a suspicious death on Dye Road in Rutland, Ohio. The Meigs County Coroner's Office said that Kissinger's death was suspicious. Her body was taken to Montgomery County Coroner's Office for an autopsy, but preliminary results were inconclusive. Investigators identified Samuel Hochstetler.
Good job.
Is that good?
I think it's good.
I don't speak Pennsylvania Dutch very well.
I think you did pretty good.
But they've identified this asshat
that's easier to pronounce.
A person of interest. So this ass clown was detained and interviewed by detectives on Monday after they heard his line of Amish bullshit. He was arrested and charged with Kinsinger's murder, and this dumbass is from Kentucky, but he had been living in Ohio with a friend for the past few months. So members of the community started looking for Kinsinger on March 13th after they realized that no one had seen her all day. A searcher entered her home and found the 28-year-old dead, adding that her goat was also inside the residence dead, and then he called 911. So my first question is, what the F is with the goat?
I don't want to answer that because the first thing that comes to mind, I feel like he wanted the goat and she interrupted. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Maybe.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. And I'm sorry, but I'm looking at him.
Yeah.
And that's what comes to mind.
So I don't know. I don't know about this story. I don't know about this story. I mean, so this dumb piece of shit is 18 years old. She's 28. I doubt that they were an item.
No, I doubt it.
So I don't know what his...
How old is Rumspringa? Is that 16?
Yeah, Rumspringa. Is it 16?
So he's probably over that.
Well, I mean, he's definitely over that because he's living in an Amish community.
Yeah, so he's gone back.
If he went on Rumspringa.
That's true. That we don't know, but I'm speculating.
Maybe he should have, and he could have got his fill of goats.
Oh, shit. I don't know. I feel like this episode is controversial.
Well,
not something we should be laughing at. I really feel for her and her family. It's not our whole thing.
No, I mean, the murder is tragic.
It's disgusting, but I don't know what the F is with the goat. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question 100%.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's very little out about this story.
I think he should go to jail for murder and for animal abuse, though. Both.
I think we should just put the psycho to death.
There you go.
My opinion. If he's guilty.
Yes.
I mean, he has not stood trial.
Allegedly.
For this, so he has been arrested, but this is really new. It doesn't sound like the autopsy has been finalized yet. All it said was that there was suspicious circumstances.
Are they going to autopsy the goat?
Well, I don't know if it's like obvious that.
I feel like the goat's important enough to the story because they mentioned it.
Well, I mean, and like I was saying, if the goat's throat was slit or something like that, then they probably don't need a necropsy. But
yeah, but
if he's just dead, then I would think they would need to do a necropsy to figure out if it was poisoned or how it died.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was this sacrificial?
I don't know.
I know. I doubt I'm speculating.
If there was any ritualistic side to this, I'm sure
they would have said it. Yeah.
Amish guy kills woman and goat in devil worship thing.
Pentagram
I'm pretty sure that would have made headlines, probably more than this one did. So I don't know. It's really sad that, again, just like the last story, it's really sad that I have to dig so hard for these stories, because this one should be should be national news, but most people will never even hear of it unless they listen into this episode.
Unless they stumble across us, because we tell the things.
Yeah. So what's the oddest murder that you've heard of?
How did I know you were going to ask me that?
This is what I do.
The oddest murder? All of them? I don't, because there's a degree of oddity in all of it, I think.
Yeah.
Is that like a chicken shit answer?
Let go of a cop out.
Yeah. But I don't have one that's screaming from the recesses of my brain, answer this question with this story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a million of them I could choose from, but the one
for me too.
The one that kind of sticks in my mind, and I think you just put it there, is
great.
So homicide hunter, what's his name?
Joe Kenda.
Joe Kenda gets called to the scene of this. It's like 5 people dead in this house, and a cat's dead on what the patrol officer's calling an altar. And so he gets there, and like the chief of police is there. And I mean, it's like a big deal because there's this big ritualistic killing of an entire family, a woman and all of her children, and a cat. I think it was a woman, 5 or 4 children, and the cat are all dead. And so Kenda gets in there, and he's, checking it out and stuff. And then he realizes, because he starts to get really nauseous, that it's carbon monoxide. And so he bails.
But why on an altar?
Well, it turns out they were Hispanic family, and they had the Hispanic religious candles like almost every Hispanic Catholic family has.
So it was totally innocent.
Yeah, the patrol officer saw the candles on a mantle and called it an altar. And a cat just happened to lay down up there and die by the candles because it died of carbon monoxide poisoning, the same as everybody else. It's a really tragic story.
Misunderstanding, though.
Really tragic story. Turns out the slumlord landlord guy decided to fix the furnace himself.
I remember this one now.
He put the heat exchanger in backwards, and then so tragically, once he discovered what he had done, and either out of guilt for killing the family or because he was facing charges, he kills himself in the same way, I might add, because he like puts a hose in from his car into the window, and he commits suicide by it's
poetic.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it was just tragic all the way around because he lost his life, and I mean, he certainly wasn't an Ed Kemper kind of guy. He certainly did not intend to kill an entire family. That's for sure. He was just a miserly old cheapskate that didn't want to do it the right way. I'm not making excuses for him.
No.
But he was not a murderer.
In fact, this is a warning to those of you who are miserly landlords. Don't do it that way.
Just take care of your properties.
Okay.
So do you
public service announcement? Oh,
yes. So do you think that we're talking about this because of the Amish angle or because of the goat?
I'm going with goat because
zero.
Yeah.
When I saw the goat, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't have included the Amish story.
Yeah.
But when I saw goat, I was like, oh, this one's got to make it in there.
Yeah, we got to talk about this one because there's a goat involved.
Yeah, I mean, how many goat murders do we really get to talk about?
Unless it's chupacabra, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about that yet either. That much.
Yeah, but you just never know what might be coming along.
I like it.
All right. And our next news story, which is a little bit different, but I just had to include it. Is beekeepers swarm to the rescue of millions of escaped bees after a truck crash. Did you not see this?
I did not, but I did see a truck crash video today that was, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it was interesting video. That was a truck full of fireworks that was just exploding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, this one's everywhere. It's all over social media. So on May 30th, 2025, a semi-truck hauling 70,000 pounds of beehives overturned in Whatcom County, Washington, releasing 14 million bees. The crash, initially reported as an accident, led to the discovery of the driver's body found stabbed in a nearby ditch, prompting a murder investigation. Beekeepers rescued the bees, rebuilding 300 hives. USA Today and NBC News reported the crash, while AP and Reuters later covered the murder probe with images of the crash site and the beekeepers in protective suits. A suspect, a hitchhiker, seen with the driver, was arrested on May 31st. So,
a lot of bees.
Well, I gotta say, thank God for beekeepers, because they saved the day on this.
No.
And the sheriff's deputies and the beekeepers are true heroes, because if I believe that I would have called in sick or dead or kidnapped or whatever else I needed to say to not face 14 million pissed off bees. I mean,
yeah. I hope there was enough EpiPens for those who needed it, because damn.
Well, especially the deputies. The beekeepers, I'm sure they came with bee suits, but the deputies, that's not standard issue in any department I know.
EpiPens, yeah.
EpiPens and bee suits? Mm-hmm. Not so much.
EpiPens might be nowadays.
They very well might have EpiPens on board, but they don't have bee suits.
Not so much, no.
And my first question is, what?
I love your first question.
There's no shortage of bizarre stories this week.
No. But I fall on the side of save the bees, so I am very glad that they did what they could, because without bees, we have no crops.
Oh, 100%. I'm a huge bee advocate. I mean, the great thing about it is that they were released.
Yeah. Well, Washington, though,
out there making honey and doing their thing.
Everybody in the whole state of Washington's just hearing buzzing nonstop now.
What kind of a psychopath stabs? I mean, I've got to assume this dipshit stabbed the driver while he was driving.
Yeah, I was just about to say, how sad is it that I'm just all on the bees side and forgot that the driver was stabbed to death? That's not a good thing.
Well, I mean, the bees are really what made this national news.
Yeah. The driver should be part of that.
The sad truth is a guy lost his life. And, you know, I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll find out as this, you know, makes its way through the court system.
You know what I also didn't know? I didn't know that semis transported beehives full of bees.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah, and typically it's not a big deal at all because, you know, those beekeepers know what the hell they're doing. And I mean, those bees like latch onto that queen and they're not leaving.
Yeah.
These are amazing. They're freaking amazing.
I know. I'm not allergic, but I am accustomed to people who are. So like I tend to get out of a bee's way because I just don't want to piss it off with all the people who are allergic. But they are amazing. I agree with you. And we need them. You know,
like honeybees, like they're really docile, honestly.
The whole semi tips over.
Right. That's a different story. But I just mean, compared to like a yellow jacket or a lot of wasps and stuff, bees don't want to sting you.
No.
I mean, they die if they
die. Yeah.
So they don't want to sting you. They just do to protect their hive, to protect the queen. But you know, their nature, I'm not talking like the Africanized killer bees,
right?
But just regular honeybees, their nature is pretty docile, really.
Yeah. Well, wasps and yellow jackets are the ass-hats of the bee world.
They're the spawn of Satan.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they do. They want to sting you and hurt you. And
yeah, they're asshats. You called it. Yeah, I hate them very much. I do not understand the reason for them.
I don't
know what good they do.
I don't know. Do they kill other bugs? I
don't know. I mean, there's like the murder hornet thing that was going around there a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
I do remember.
Yeah, I can't imagine he does much good. So, I don't know. So what's the wildest roadside scene that you've witnessed?
I'm not going to think that there's a particular one, but most of them, all I have to say is Yellowstone.
That's so damn funny.
Is that your answer?
Oh, yeah, you stole that.
I'm sorry.
But I do believe that anybody that lives anywhere near Yellowstone is going to say the same thing.
It's going to have a Yellowstone story, and it's going to be...
If you're listening and you're not from Wyoming, you have no clue what we're talking about, but wild animals in Yellowstone are wild freaking animals.
They don't let them out.
Do not pet them. Do not approach them. Do not try to save them. Do not try to get them in your car. All of the above I have personally witnessed.
They will fling you a long ways.
Oh, when I was on the ambulance, you know, we'd get a call to the park and we knew what it was. I mean,
goring.
You know, it was either, I mean, there was a lot of altitude sickness and stuff like that. But if we were headed up there because a buffalo had taken somebody out, we already knew what the injuries were going to be. And it was going to be predominantly to the ass. And then whatever else broke when they hit the ground, because those things will throw you like 30 freaking feet in the air. Yeah, don't approach. I know they're great to take pictures of, but don't approach them.
They're beautiful. They're majestic. They're to be left alone.
Yeah, they're pissy.
Yes.
Beautiful, majestic, and pissy.
Yes.
And that pretty much goes for all of the animals in the park.
They're not touched.
Elk, moose, bear, buffalo, all of the above. Just, it's not a petting zoo.
No. And let me also add, while we're on this subject, stay on the freaking sidewalks.
Yes.
Stay on the paths. Don't go in the geysers. Don't throw things in the geysers. How did I get on this soapbox? Because I live in Wyoming and I'm sick of people getting hurt.
Yeah. So would you take the pictures of this truck? You saw the picture of the truck, right? You see that picture?
I was hoping.
And it's like really cloudy because it's all...
Oh, it's all hills, yeah.
So would you take the pictures or how would you react if you come up on this mess?
In my vehicle with all the windows rolled up, I might take a picture. I was hopeful that picture was taken by the news, but probably not.
Who took it? I have no idea.
It's probably not. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'd take the picture.
Yeah, not me. So
I would take a picture.
When
everything's rolled up and they're not getting in my car.
I don't know that.
Well, are you allergic?
No, but I don't want to get stung either. Especially, I mean, everybody's allergic to 13 million things.
This is true.
No. I mean, when I was on the fire department, I got certified.
And your face was amazing.
But I got certified in hazardous materials. When you were trained that when you respond to an incident, you hold your thumb up, and when you can cover the entire scene with your thumb, you're far enough away. That's how I would treat this one too.
Gotcha.
I would be far enough away I could cover the whole thing, and then if I had a lens I could zoom in or something, I'd zoom in, but no way am I taking a chance at 14 million pissed off bees, because that's a death sentence.
Well, if I'm stuck there and I can't get out, I'm going to take a picture before I die.
Oh, I'm getting out. Guarantee I'm getting out.
Okay. Well, this is why I'm a passenger princess and other people drive me around.
I'll go Bajan if I have to, but I'm not dangling with 14 million bees. Not going to happen.
Okay.
And now we have the Dipshit's Diary.
Which I'm part of because I would take a picture of 14 million bees.
I know, you're not part of this. These dipshits, they deserve a trophy.
Dipshit Diaries.
First up,
Oh, no.
Whataburger employee accused of using a customer's card to pay probation fines.
Oh.
So,
Oh, she looks like him.
this sweetheart is dubbed by the internet as the world's dumbest criminal. 25-year-old Alifa Sumter was arrested after using stolen credit card information to pay off her own court fines. Fines stemming from a prior marijuana arrest. Police say that she stole the data while working the drive-thru at Whataburger in Bexar County, Texas. She may have thought that she was being clever, but the digital trail led straight back to her, and the irony of committing fraud to settle fraud made this case explode online. So this 25-year-old dipshit actually used a stolen freaking credit card to pay her court fines. She had an illustrious career at Whataburger, which she threw away when she decided to steal debit card information from a customer. And in her brilliant plan to escape with the loot, she decided that paying off her freaking court fines and fees with the stolen credit card was the way to go. So this poor customer realized that something was up when they saw a $400 charge from the Coweta County State Court Probation Office. And as hard as it might be to believe, the court wasn't very pleased when they learned about this either. The customer picked her out of a photo lineup as the twit that, quote, disappeared with her card for a couple minutes while he was purchasing food. Sumter was on probation from a previous charge of possession of marijuana.
She's slightly smiling in this picture.
She is smiling.
Just, I mean, not like a giant smile, but
No, but
she's smiling. Okay.
So how dumb do you have to be to turn a $400 possession of marijuana fine into a felony fraud and identity theft case?
I was hoping more dumb than that. I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This one, I think we're going to have like the dumbest of the dumb of 2025. And
Because it takes a lot to get the dumbest criminal award.
it does, but this one's in the running. I got it.
Dang.
What? Because, what? I mean, okay, steal somebody's card and you go buy, I don't know, shoes, or you go buy some stuff. You go to the court?
Really other things that you want to buy with that $400. And then you use the $400 for your... Why are we telling people how to be good criminals? I take it all back.
I don't, I mean,
Because John's not going to edit this.
this is one of the stupidest things. Like,
Gosh.
you know, I mean, if you go to Target or something like that, I mean, at least they're going to have to do a little bit of legwork. Like, if you steal a credit card, you're getting busted.
And pay your damn fines with...
Yeah, but I just mean in general, if you steal
I know.
and use it, you're going to get busted.
Yeah.
Every place has surveillance footage, but at least they have to do some legwork to figure out who the hell you are.
Yeah.
When you pay your court fines, your name is attached to the transaction. They don't have to look very hard. They just have to look it up and say, oh, that was dumb bitch. That's who did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they call her up and...
Because no one's paying other people's court fines.
No.
So, I'm embarrassed for...
I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I would be willing to bet money that even if somebody did pay her court fines, they would have to say what relationship they had to her. I mean, this is a court fine. This isn't a speeding ticket. This is like, she's on probation. You go to jail if you don't pay this. Like,
Yeah.
They keep records of that shit.
She put herself right back in jail, which honestly, we all need her to be there.
Well, she wasn't in jail to begin with.
No, but she would have been.
Well, I don't know. I mean, her charge was minor. Now that's a felony.
Yeah, but if you don't, I mean, I don't know what exactly happens in all states if you don't pay your court fines, but
Oh, yeah, but if
you do spend a few nights in jail, I would assume.
Yeah, but I mean, almost everywhere, if you go in and talk to them and you're like, I am really trying here. I've got $50. I
Yeah.
paid. I think the unless you have just an extensive record, then most courts are going to kind of work with you. They don't want to
Yeah.
throw you in jail over $400.
No, because there's not enough room in the jails anyway.
And that's going to cost them more than $400
To keep
to house you.
Yeah.
So if you went in and you're like, I'm really, really trying, the best I could do is Whataburger, and I'm making, I don't know, shit. I mean,
Well,
some of them guys are making like
I was going to
$25 an hour or something, so it's not that bad of money. But anyway, the best I can do is Whataburger. I have 7 kids from 7 different dads. I don't know. But I don't know. Whatever. I just don't think that she's a beacon of an upstanding moral citizen is the point that I'm trying to make. So, but if you go in and you explain yourself, most of them are going to work with you.
If you're not trying to run, yeah.
But if you steal a card and pay your court, you're screwed at that point.
Yeah.
Like, no judge is going to hear your bullshit after this.
Yeah. I hear her cell doors clanging as we speak.
Oh, yeah, she's probably headed to prison.
Mm-hmm.
So should Whataburger be held responsible?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know enough of the specifics, I guess.
if everybody saw her do it, then possibly. But as the company, I don't know. That's just like saying here at McDonald's, should McDonald's be held responsible if one of their people did the same thing? I just don't know.
Kinda.
You think so?
Kinda, yeah.
The actual corporation or the actual franchise should be held responsible?
I kind of do in a situation like this. Now, if you've got an employee that's out on their own unsupervised or something like that, well, then there's nothing that a business can do. But how is she able to take this card? And we're talking about this food restaurant. There's a shit ton of people in there.
This is true.
And she's taking this card and copying the number down. I don't know. I don't have enough of the information, I guess, but
because card machines go down, card readers go down all the time. Maybe at that moment they were accepting them. They were having to handwrite. I've seen that happen. And she used that. I don't know. There's just not enough information. We need more information.
Well, I'm telling you straight up, if they have a policy like that, they should be held liable.
Well, then I
100%. Because if they're saying yes, write down
go ahead, write down
information, then they should be charged. And if I went to a place that they were doing that, they would hear about it.
You're like, it's time to find a different restaurant.
And I say this having been. Having worked as a kid in a gas station where I still did the credit card machines.
Yeah.
For those of you that are old enough to know what I'm talking about,
Dating himself.
when I made that sound, everybody that's old enough said, "Oh yeah, I remember those."
That sound.
And you made a carbon copy of the credit card every time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've come quite a long ways because now I'm like, oh no, if you write my credit card down, I'm gonna freaking jump all over.
Because now you can pay. Some people can pay with just tipping their watch on the thing. Like,
yeah. And back in those days,
baffles me. But
as a business owner, you didn't even know if the card cleared for like
couple days, yeah.
Oh no, because you kept all those little slips, and then I put them in the mail and mailed them to the credit card company, and then the credit card company processed them, and if any of them
fingers
didn't clear, you got a notice back in the mail that said this one didn't clear. So you were like 2 weeks before you even knew
you were lucky it was
paid. Oh, and I mean, it was never faxed in the businesses I worked in.
Yeah.
It was snail mailed.
We were faxing the one I worked in. The very last one I worked in that we actually did cards like that.
And you faxed the credit card numbers? I think that's even worse. Wow.
I did. It was not my policy.
One number off and you just sent like a whole stack of credit card numbers to some random fax machine.
Yep.
Yeah. Those people could use them to pay off their debts because yeah. So last question on this one. Does this dumb bitch qualify for not guilty by reason of mental defect?
No.
She's definitely got a mental defect, I gotta tell you.
But no. Capital, no.
Yeah, I would agree, but I had to include that question because she's got to be one of the dumbest people on the planet. I swear to God, she does.
Ignorance is no excuse.
It is not. So, then we have theft suspect lost foot trying to jump train to elude cops in Inglewood, police say.
I'm convinced you're choosing these now just to see the weird looks on my face when I see them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if I pick them for the Dipshit Diaries, they have to be contenders.
True, but my jaw completely dropped just now.
So, in a real-life display of don't try this at home, a suspect in Inglewood, Chicago, attempted to flee from police by leaping onto a moving freight train, only to have the train sever his foot during the escape. Emergency responders rushed into the hospital in serious condition. The suspect survived, but social media lit up with commentary about his decision-making. It's a case of desperation, adrenaline, and misjudgment coming together in one messy moment. So, this rocket scientist and his squad of dipshits decided that stealing from a freight train sounded like a good idea, and when police showed up, the dumbass thought that jumping onto a moving train was a good escape plan. The good news is that this one-legged railroad kingpin probably won't be able to run fast enough to escape the cops in the future either. It should be noted that his posse of 4 other outstanding citizens were arrested and cuffs were waiting for this asshat once he hobbles out of the hospital.
But I've seen it on movies. It has to work.
So my first question is why?
That's my answer. I've seen it on movies. It works. I don't know. What? Okay. No, I can't ask you that question because you just read me all the information that you have. I'm finally starting to learn this.
Yes.
It took us how many episodes?
A few.
So
what motivates someone to risk life and limb to avoid a possible arrest?
I'm looking inside myself, and it's going to be something bigger than what's on a freight train that I want to steal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like The Fugitive.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm wrongfully convicted of murdering my wife. I'm facing life in prison and I need to prove my innocence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Or Taken when you're trying to find your child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. First of all,
something huge.
I ain't breaking into no trains, but
no.
Even if I did and the cops were like, freeze, I'd be like, jump on train, freeze. Okay, you got me. Fair enough. I don't know what to say, but that brings me to my last question, and that is, should have the ambulance accidentally gotten lost while responding?
No. Morally, no. Hilarity, yes.
Yeah. I mean,
morally, I have to say no.
I would have a hard time. I've been on the ambulance, so I understand how it works.
You can imagine the conversations you guys have on your way to things like this.
Oh, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or you have like frequent flyers where you already know exactly what you're walking into because they call twice a week.
Oh man, really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you have to respond, you have to deal with them, but in the back of your mind, you're definitely thinking like, I don't know, I'm kind of glad his foot's gone. Like, I'm not digging around very long.
You'll have to find the foot.
Yeah. I'm not spending a lot of time with this one. I mean, as a single mother of 2 kids working, whatever, I'm digging through freaking whatever to find the foot, and maybe they could do something and save it. This ass had it. Just be like, I looked around, I couldn't find it. Sorry, you're going to be a hop along for the rest.
It wasn't in the vicinity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It probably saves people lives and at least saves their property, because this dumbass ain't going to be able to steal a whole lot one-footed. So,
how long? I mean, how long before he's out of jail? Who even knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
our taxes are paying for his medical bills now. Now I'm pissed more.
I don't know, because I don't know. That one would be tough. I guess technically he would have been under arrest when admitted. So, yeah, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have to be more pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Blast.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know what all of his charges were, but felony evading, I think, could definitely be on the list. I don't know if I don't know if he was charged with that, but I think he could be. So, okay. That brings us to the weird shit
section. Bring it.
Weird shit.
We got some strange ones tonight.
I love it.
First one is the Bloop, the mysterious deep sea sound caught in 1997.
Yes.
So the Bloop is, in 1997, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration captured an ultra powerful low frequency sound deep in the Pacific Ocean, nicknamed the Bloop. It was louder than any known animal, lasted for over a minute, and was never heard again. Some believe that it was caused by an erroneous ice quake, while others point to something far more cryptic, like an undiscovered deep sea creature. Whatever the source, it remains one of the most fascinating underwater mysteries in modern science. So, what more is there to say about this weird shit? I don't even know. So the theory is the Bloop was a powerful, ultra-low frequency underwater sound, like we said, recorded by NOAA in 97, and it initially baffled scientists because its acoustic signature resembled that of a living creature, yet it was far louder than any known animal. While some speculated it could be a massive undiscovered marine organism, NOAA later attributed it to ice quakes, specifically the cracking and shifting of large icebergs in Antarctica. And I don't know how in the hell you say this, Cthulhu mythos. Yeah, tell me about it.
Cthulhu. I only know it because of Zach Bagans. And there's a movie.
A beginner's guide to losing your mind, Lovecraft style. So my take, imagine the universe is a vast, indifferent hellscape held together by duct tape, paranoia, and squishy tentacles. And you're basically an ant trying to understand quantum physics while a giant foot hovers above you, just waiting to squish you for fun. That's the
Cthulhu
mythos in a nutshell.
Okay.
The mythos, cooked up in an anxiety-riddled stew of early 20th century writer H.P. Lovecraft, is basically the literary equivalent of yelling, "What if God, but worse," into a haunted mirror. At its center is a big space squid with wings, a dad bod, and a penchant for napping aggressively at the bottom of the ocean. He's not evil in the traditional sense. He just doesn't care about you at all. You're not even an inconvenience. You're ground noise, like a fruit fly buzzing at the edge of Lovecraftian's God perception. But
say it now.
Cthulhu is only the opening act. There are other great old ones and outer gods who make him look like a mall Santa. There's
Cthulhu.
No.
Oh.
Nyarlathotep, the cosmic hype man with 1,000 faces and terrible attitude. Azathoth is the universe's blind, drooling idiot god who accidentally created everything during a cosmic jazz solo. And Shub-Niggurath is the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young, which sounds more like a metal band than a deity, but here we are. The real kicker, the more you learn about them, the worse it gets. Knowledge is power, sure. But in the mythos, knowledge is a one-way ticket to screaming into the void and then being devoured by it. Most Lovecraft protagonists die, go insane, or both after uncovering the truth. There are no chosen ones, no saving throws, just you, a cultist basement, and the creeping realization that human existence is the cosmic equivalent of Lent. So why do people love this stuff? Because nothing brings people together like collective existential dread, apparently. So,
before you ask a question,
yes,
all you listeners out there, be incredibly jealous that I am the only one to read these. Because it's amazing. Okay, continue.
All right, so we're going to listen to...
we're going to listen to the Bloop, got it.
We're going to listen to the Bloop, and you can tell me your thoughts on the Bloop. So there you have the Bloop.
I don't know that I would have named it any other thing.
No, it sounds like a Bloop.
Yeah.
So,
are you trying to replicate the Bloop?
Specifically, but I don't know really what to say about the Bloop. Could the Bloop be proof of an undiscovered sea monster? Perhaps the basis for Lovecraftian lore?
Okay. You know enough about me by now that you know I want it to be.
Yes, I do.
But no, I don't think it is.
You don't think it is?
No.
Isn't that funny? Because I go the other direction.
Yeah. Did not expect that.
Yeah, I mean,
world coming to it. To me, it sounds like boats.
Well, yeah, but it's not. It's louder than anything they've captured before.
Oh.
So I don't know, but I have said before that the ocean would be one place where something could exist. And, you know, I've heard whales and shit, and this sounds a lot like that.
Do you speak whale like Dory?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but only in private.
Oh.
Yeah. Not for audiences.
Video or it didn't happen.
Well, I'm not trying to prove it to nobody.
That's true.
Nobody would even know if you wouldn't have blown my cover. So there's that. So why are vast stretches of the ocean still a mystery to even the most advanced sonar equipment?
Because we can't get to all of the places.
I think that's spot on.
And I don't want to get to all of the places. Other people can go.
100%.
Take pictures.
I mean,
Report back to me.
my brother was on a submarine in the Navy, and we went and toured it. Oh, hell no. Not just no thanks, but there ain't no way in hell
Got it.
I'm getting on one of those things. I mean, we were still above water,
Right.
but I went on a submarine at Disneyland, and that was a bit much for me. A
Was it
submarine,
because it was a Disney or just because it was a submarine?
all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, like, people on submarines tell these stories about they're under ice that's like 7 feet thick, probably thicker than that, probably like 50 feet
I'm
thick,
not doing
some
it.
shit like that, where you can't surface if you had to. And like escaping from one of those things,
Yeah.
it is not possible. It ain't gonna happen.
That's a no. I can't breathe right now just thinking about it.
No way would you get me on a damn submarine. No way.
We agree.
So if a sound like this were heard again today, would modern technology reveal the truth or deepen the mystery?
I would think it would deepen the mystery.
I think it would deepen the mystery unless they did what they will not do. And that would be if they came out and said, this is some undiscovered freaking giant monster, and we have no freaking clue what it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the government's own fault that I am the way that I am. Because when I read that,
You hear that, government?
when I read that Noah says that it's an ice break, I'm like, well, yeah. And
Yeah.
Roswell was just a weather balloon too. So, and every time something happens, we get some dumbass story that most of which I do not believe.
Right.
And so, do I think that an alien spaceship crashed at Roswell? We'll probably cover that in a future episode, but I don't know. Do I think it was a weather balloon? Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Not for a second do I think it was a weather balloon.
I don't either.
So, quit lying to us, and maybe they'll believe you.
Exactly.
But you only get away with lying to me about so many times before I just assume everything you say is a lie.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much where I'm at with the government.
What did I say once? 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I think it would have to be like a private organization that would come out and explain it for me to have any faith in it. Because if it's any kind of a government organization, I'm going to assume it's probably the opposite of what they're saying. So when they say it's an ice break, I say it's probably a deep sea creature. Yeah. Yeah, it's more likely that it's a deep sea creature than the government has told me the truth. So I'm going with deep sea creature.
Sadly, that's true.
Yeah.
So we're not booking your $240,000 passage on the next Titanic visit, right?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
After the last one?
I know. It was run by a video game controller.
Yeah.
That would have been my first clue not to go.
Yeah, I watched.
I mean, I do. I'm not trying to make light. I feel for the families, but
Well, I feel for the families too, but I mean, I have a real struggle with that one because I watched an interview with there's a special name for that kind of engineer that builds that shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but he was that kind of engineer, and he worked for that company, and he was like, this thing is a death trap.
Yeah.
There's no way it's going to last.
I was putting my name on it. Yeah.
And they fought with him, and so he resigned and bailed because he knew that something bad was going to happen.
Speaks volume.
And so, yeah, it's really sad that it happened. I don't wish any ill on anybody.
Exactly.
But if you're doing something that they've taken that risk because they were told this thing's not safe. To your point, it's controlled by a Nintendo controller or whatever.
I think it was like N64 or something.
Yeah. No.
Super Nintendo, something. I don't know.
All right, so this is a really great one.
Yeah, let's move on.
The phantom time hypotheses, the 1991 theory.
I feel like
Are you familiar with this?
No, but I feel like we just entered an episode of Big Bang Theory.
Something like that, yes.
Okay.
So, it was proposed by historian Herbert Illig. The phantom time hypothesis argues that 297 years of history, specifically from AD 614 to 911, were completely fabricated. According to the theory, Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII conspired to, quote, insert these years into history so Otto could reign in the year 1000. Although dismissed by mainstream historians, the theory raises bizarre questions about how easily human history could be altered or lost. So the theory is that there just isn't a lot more to say. My take? There isn't a lot to say because that's what happens when you just randomly make up bullshit theories like this. Imagine waking up and learning it's not 2025, it's 1728, because some guy in the 1980s, a literal historian, decided that we all hallucinated 297 years of history. That's the phantom time hypothesis.
That's what they're doing with the Mandela effect.
Yeah. The theory that early Middle Ages never happened and Charlemagne was about as real as a Times Square Elmo. Why? Because calendars are hard, like math hard.
Yes.
So clearly it must be a pope, an emperor, and an astronomer pulling the ultimate date night scam on the planet. Critics say we have archaeological evidence. Believers say that vibes, you know? Just your average Tuesday in fringe academia. So, how reliable are sources for ancient and medieval timelines?
Not.
I don't think they're reliable, but I think they're reliable enough to know that they didn't make up 300 years.
Chunk of time.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, as far as, and especially during that time period, as far as like who was emperor and the big events of the day and stuff, I think they're pretty reliable.
Okay.
I really do. I think that, you know, all the current technology is pretty much showing that, you know, when the historical record says there was a major battle at this location at this time, archaeologists have gone in, dug, found the remains, found, you know, weapons and stuff like that. So what evidence or lack thereof gives rise to conspiracy theories like this one?
I don't have an answer for you.
I don't. I mean, it is the gullibility of society as a whole is really concerning. The number of flat Earth believers out there scares the shit out of me, if I'm being honest.
We would have fallen off the planet by now.
Well, I mean,
I just say things to get you to react at this point.
I don't even know what, like, the idea that these people, but I will say, during my stint living in the Ohio Valley and working in Pittsburgh, I came across people, and maybe it's like a Wyoming, you know, western part of the United States thing, because I've come across these kind of people in a lot of cities that literally have never left their neighborhood. They grew up there. They go to like their neighborhood stores and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's people living in like Pittsburgh that have never been to the other side of Pittsburgh, let alone to the other side of the country, and definitely not the other side of the world. So I guess if I was in that situation, I would be a lot more apt to believe something like the flat Earth theory. I mean, this one, I don't know what it takes to believe this bullshit, but, you know, like the flat Earth thing, you've never traveled, you've never been on a plane.
Yeah.
You've never, I mean, because if you shoot long distances, I know I bring up guns and shooting a lot, but if you shoot really long distances, then the curvature of the Earth actually comes into effect on how it affects your bullet and how your bullet travels. I mean, when you deal with stuff like that, and like airplanes that can go across the world a lot faster at the top of the world than across the center of the world, because it's just a hell of a lot further across the center of a sphere.
Right.
It becomes pretty logical at that point. But if you've never been out of your little neighborhood, I guess I could understand it. I don't know.
Well, doesn't weather patterns
I mean, the idea of a flat Earth boggles my mind. Like it's like 80% water, the Earth, and it doesn't fall off.
Exactly.
How do you explain that shit? And it's like the turtle thing. You've heard the turtle thing.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's some ancient thing of like the world is held up by a turtle. And
what?
Then the question is, okay, well, then what's holding up the turtle? Well, it's another turtle. And so there's just this endless line of turtles.
Infinite turtles holding us up.
Yeah, it's the infinite turtle theory. It's a similar type of thing. Like you got to just make up shit to reinforce your crazy ass shit.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And so I think that's what happens with this kind of stuff. There's all kinds of them, and some are more believable than others. Like the whole Da Vinci Code thing and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could cut that to ribbons, but it would take me a while. But anytime you want to get into that discussion, we can. But like those ones, there's intelligent arguments that can be made, and I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist myself, and so I can argue on the conspiracy side for a lot of different things as well. But when you tell me the sky's purple, well, okay, but I can see it's not. So
depending on the time of day,
you know what I'm talking about. All right.
I was about to get thrown at me.
So yeah, I don't know. I struggle with these ones that are just so absurd.
Yes.
We just deleted 300 years, made it up.
These are why the word absurd exists.
Yeah. So, could modern digital records one day be manipulated in similar ways, if not already?
I think so. And I think they have been already. That's why we have the Mandela effect.
Well, have you read 1984?
No.
Okay. Well, you got to go. So,
this is my last star. There's a star every episode, and that was the last one.
So George Orwell in 1984, he creates this world which is frighteningly similar to the world that we live in today. But in this world that he creates in 1984, the government basically, if a politician goes out and makes a speech and says, I don't know, country X is going to bomb us. And then as history plays out, it turns out that now we're best friends with history X. There's a whole department in the government that goes back and changes all those news stories and everything. So it reads what actually happened instead of what was predicted to happen. Like there's a whole deal. And like thought crimes are a thing in 1984 in this book. Like if you think something wrong and the government has basically TVs that are watching you. So you got to like hide if you want to smoke and all this kind of stuff that is like creepily very possible now.
Yeah.
And as I see what's happening with like free speech across the world, where people are literally being thrown in jail for making a meme on Facebook, then I think like thought crimes in 1984. I mean, if you read 1984 and you read Atlas Shrugged, have you read that, Ian Round? Oh man, have you seen the movies at least?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, submit your applications to be John's new co-host at info.talk.com.
They shall be accompanied by full book reports on 1884 and Atlas Shrugged. Thank you very much.
I guess there's a movie night in my future.
So Atlas Shrugged is another similar one. Ian Rand nailed it. Basically is what happens is because the government is taxing the wealthy and the smart so much that finally, and I used to have this bumper sticker. I need to get another one that says, "Who is John Gosh?" And so this guy, John Gosh, basically convinces all of the super elite smart people that actually move industry to just walk away. The whole idea is based on the god Atlas, who holds the world on his shoulders. And
you're a turtle.
Different story. So and he's holding the earth on his shoulders, and he gets tired of it, and he just says, "Okay," and shrugs the earth off. Basically, all the Elon Musks and the really smart people that drive industry basically say, okay, we're out. And they all take off and live in this happy little spot in like Colorado in the mountains, and like just let the world fall to hell around them. So that's Atlas Shrugged, 1984. But then when you read them and you're like, holy shit, how did they, I mean, I think both of them were written in the 30s. And so it's incredible. Yeah, George Orwell missed it by a few years. It didn't happen in 1984, but we get very eerily close to it every day. It's nuts. But that's a whole nother discussion. Okay.
Cannot wait.
I knew you would like this one.
Oh, yeah.
Point Pleasant's Mothman sightings, 1966-67. So for those of you that have been living under a rock, beginning in 1966, residents of Point Pleasant, West Virginia reported encounters with a winged humanoid figure with glowing red eyes dubbed the Mothman. The creature allegedly appeared to multiple witnesses and was even linked, was even linked to the collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967, which killed 46 people. Whether it was a cryptid, an omen, or a hoax, Mothman became an enduring piece of American folklore and a staple of paranormal discussion. So the theory, like we said, the Mothman legend began in 66 with reported sightings of a large, winged humanoid with glowing red eyes in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Sightings culminated in the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967. Some theorize that Mothman is a harbinger of disaster, a type of prophetic cryptid with interdimensional being. Skeptics attribute sightings to misidentified birds, likely sandhill cranes, or mass hysteria. Mothman remains a symbol of unexplained phenomena linked to tragedy. So my take? If Mothman shows up in your town, take the next Greyhound out. This red-eyed legend appeared in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966, just before a bridge collapsed and killed 46 people. Coincidence? The people of the internet think not. Mothman's the cryptid equivalent of a bad omen wrapped in a feathered jump scare. People describe him as part bat, part man, all trauma. He has wings, glowing eyes, and the energy of a haunted hot topic manager. Since then, he has been spotted before disasters, earning him the title of apocalyptic influencer. You'd think he'd at least warn people before the chaos instead of silently flexing his wingspan in the dark. So, what is up with Mothman already?
It was a decent movie.
It was a pretty damn good movie, actually. Richard Gere is not one of my favorites, but that movie was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta watch that again. Finally, a movie I've watched.
Yeah, I got my true crime partner. I got to bring in like weird shit to find a movie that you've watched. Like cryptid stuff.
Yes, all the creepy shit.
I don't know. True crime's pretty.
I know, and I do watch a lot of it, but it doesn't file in my brain like it files in yours.
But if you think I'm going to stop giving you a hard time, you are out of your mind.
I would think something was wrong with you, and I would have you checked.
Yeah. So, what's your take? Was Mothman a hallucination, a cryptid, or a supernatural warning sign?
I think it's the last two. It's definitely cryptid. But I think it's a warning sign too, because it shows up, and isn't it like every so many years?
See, I don't know, because I got to separate Hollywood from what I find in my research. And Hollywood in that movie claims that Mothman sightings go all the way back in history, whatever. I couldn't find that.
Really?
I could find Mothman in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966-67.
And that's it?
Not a lot of extensive stuff out there like Bigfoot.
Well, that annoys me a little bit.
So I don't know. I was hoping that you knew more. And again, I do not spend hours researching these things, so
but see,
it's
that's
very possible. But
and that's all I have for memory and like storytelling and listening to creepypastas and stuff. So I don't know exactly how true.
Yeah,
because it's creepypastas. But yeah, I remember there being something about every so many years, and something bad always happens when Mothman is sighted.
Yeah.
So, and it's always been like a certain number of deaths or a certain number of tragedy things.
So, this isn't one of my questions. It just came to me.
Okay.
What the hell is the name of that show? I was going to ask if Jeepers Creepers. I was going to ask if is Mothman the inspiration for Jeepers Creepers? Because that's sure as hell what I think of.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think you're onto something.
I think that's where they got the whole concept for the Jeepers Creepers, which is creepy as shit. I mean, the movie's kind of funny, and I thought it was done well, but...
Which one, though? The first?
The first one.
Okay.
You can usually discount all sequels unless they're planned in advance.
Yeah.
Like the Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
But when they like make a movie and it does really well and they're like, oh,
let's make another one.
Do it again. Yeah.
Sometimes they're okay.
I mean, I didn't think the second Jeepers Creepers was that bad. It just wasn't that good.
No. The whole bus thing was just odd.
It was just kind of dumb. And then, when like the main characters all die in a movie.
And they do a
second one.
I hate that.
And sorry if we're spoiling this, but the movie was like from 1995 or something. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know. But
the first one had a good enough creep.
It was pretty creepy. The dude himself was,
Oh, that makeup person was.
Yeah, it was really good. But
yeah,
when I saw that movie, it was the first thing I thought of was Mothman. Because it's just very similar.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about Mothman. I've always kind of believed in it, but I don't have a reason to. I don't think that they were seeing sandhill cranes myself.
No.
I mean,
no.
It doesn't make a lot of sense at all to me with some of the stories that came out of there. And from what I understand, it was a lot of people that were pretty believable. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, crazy people. It was, run-of-the-mill, hardworking. Yeah. And I lived in that area pretty near to Point Pleasant. And that Ohio Valley region, it's not a bunch of crazy people. It's a lot of hardworking coal miners and steel mill workers that are just trying to put food on their table every day. And so, I mean, it's just, they don't have a lot of time to sit around and think shit up because it's a pretty depressed economy, especially after a lot of the steel mills and stuff have closed down. So these are people that are really struggling to make ends meet and all this. I don't see them cooking up a whole bunch of crazy shit like this. And there was enough documentation of these sightings before the bridge collapse to know for absolute fact that they weren't capitalizing on it. Right. Unless they were out there like loosening bolts or something to make it happen, which they weren't. That was never claimed. So it was interesting for sure that it seemed to prophesize something bad happening as the collapse of that bridge. Mm-hmm. So what makes Point Pleasant's case more enduring than other monster sightings?
I think the same thing that would make it less believable is the fact that it's only reporting 1 year.
Yeah. But I do think that what makes it more enduring is that it's warning us of something. It's not just like a creature running through the woods. It's actually documented interacting with humans. I think that's really what sets it apart from Bigfoot or Chupacabra. Well,
Chupacabra warns you against like leaving your goats out alone.
Yeah, for sure. Keep your chickens in the house. I don't know. I don't want to wake up with dead chickens.
True.
Like dead goats. I don't know. But that would be my take on that, is I do think that interaction and that warning almost puts it at more of a supernatural level than a cryptid level.
Yeah.
Or even, I mean, I don't know if you could even make a theological argument about it. Like a really creepy ass looking angel or something, you know?
That would be a terrible angel.
Not a great one. I mean, I hope that's not what's waiting for me.
Right?
Okay, the next one. Spontaneous human combustion. Multiple cases.
Scared of this I was as a child?
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, multiple cases, historical to modern. So,
I walked around with water.
really?
Yes. I was little. But I did. I walked around with water because when I first heard of this, I was terrified that it could actually happen. And then people are saying if you talk about it more, you think about it more, it can actually happen. And then I was trying not to think about it, and I was thinking about it more. It was bad.
So, spontaneous...
Sounds like, are you going to take a breath so I can do this?
Spontaneous human combustion, or SHC, refers to cases where people allegedly burst into flames with no external ignition source. Victims are often found burned to ashes with surroundings oddly untouched. Yep. Explanations range from natural body gases to supernatural intervention, but none are universally accepted. Despite scientific skepticism, the bizarre pattern of these deaths continues to spark debate and fear. So the theory, SHC, refers to the alleged phenomenon of a person igniting and burning without any apparent ignition source. It's been reported since the 1600s, with victims often found completely incinerated except for extremities, like their feet or their hands. Mm-hmm. Scientists argue that the wick effect explains SHC. Body fats act as fuel when ignited by a small flame, like a cigarette, and clothing serves as a wick. Still, some cases remain unexplained due to unusual burn patterns or lack of surroundings damaged. So my take, SHC is what happens when your body says, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
And explodes into fire from the inside. No matches, no accelerants, just an unholy human sizzle. Victims are often found mostly incinerated except for their feet, which are left creepily intact like leftovers from Hell's Buffet. Scientists blame the wick effect, where body fat melts and fuels the burn like a meat candle. But let's be honest, if you combust while watching TV and your recliner's still fine, people are gonna assume ghosts, aliens, or a very bored demon. So, is there a scientific explanation for HSC, or is it just misunderstood fire physics?
I don't know, and I'm terrified. It's a wonder I actually started smoking to begin with. Because I was so scared of this as a child.
It is pretty rare. I think you're pretty safe.
Yeah, but I did not think so at that time. I didn't.
I think there's something to it. I think there's too many cases for it to just be like cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and cigarettes burn everything else.
I think it's extraordinarily odd that the furniture doesn't catch on fire.
Exactly.
I don't know though. I don't understand why it happens.
And why not the hands and feet? Why not the hands and feet?
I don't.
Because I don't stories I heard,
but I do know
hands were left too.
Yeah, and I do know that, like circulation is definitely that way.
Yeah.
Your extremities have less circulation. Does that have something to do with it? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I know that like in patients with edema, where they're holding water, that water is held heavily in their extremities,
mm-hmm.
predominantly in their legs and their feet. Mm-hmm. Does that? I don't know. So why are many victims found alone and in seated positions? Could it relate to posture or to health?
I never thought about that. I don't know.
I think it could.
You think so? Couch potato issues?
Well, I don't know about necessarily that, but, and again, I haven't like really researched this, so I don't know like if there's commonalities between victims and stuff that could be found, but like I said, with the patient that has edema, then they're usually immobile or greatly immobile. So they're sitting in a chair a lot of the time. I don't know if this is more prevalent in the elderly as compared to young people. I don't know any of that stuff. But I do know that if those links are made, that could potentially be a link. That could potentially be something. I don't know.
I don't remember actually hearing the types of people it happened to.
I don't either. And
when I became so scared of it.
I can't imagine that I'm the only one that's come up with a theory like that. So it's probably been researched and debunked, but
yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there. So would modern home surveillance cameras help solve the mystery, or would they deepen it?
Oh, with the amount of people who can fake things, I don't think it would help at all.
Well, even if it wasn't faked, I think if you have a camera that's sitting on somebody that just literally spontaneously combusts and burns to nothing,
yeah,
that's going to really deepen the mystery for me, because that's going to eliminate everything else. And I'm going to be like, holy shit, Angela was right. It's a very long everywhere you go. Yeah. But what do? You can't say I'm never leaving the house, because they typically burn up in the house.
Yeah. I don't.
You become Aquaman?
Yes.
Just live in the ocean or what?
No, because there's creepy shit in the ocean too. You're never safe.
You're never safe. It lives in a swimming pool. Can you live in a swimming pool? Live in a bathtub?
I don't know.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't think we're going to solve it, but it is interesting to think about.
Am I less scared of it? No.
All right, so the next one, the
Pollock twins.
Yep, the Pollock twins. Reincarnation or parental projection? So, if you don't know, the Pollock twins in 1958. So, in 57, two girls, Joanna, 11, and Jacqueline, 6, both with the last name Pollock, were killed in a tragic car accident in Hexham, England. The following year, their mother gave birth to twin girls, Jennifer and Jillian. As they grew, the twins began demonstrating oddly specific knowledge about their deceased sisters' lives, recognizing toys that they'd never seen, naming locations they'd never visited, and even exhibiting eerily similar birthmarks. Some psychologists suggest the parents may have unconsciously influenced the twins' behaviors through subtle cues or stories that they shared. Others believe it may be a genuine case of reincarnation, often cited by proponents of life after death theories. So, my take? Twin girls supposedly inherit memories, preferences, and even birthmarks from two sisters who died before they were even born? That's right. Either reincarnation is real, or these kids somehow hacked the cosmic recycling bin and hit restore previous save. Add in a grieving family, a dash of small town whispers, and a whole lot of unresolved trauma, and presto changeo, paranormal parenting at its finest. Or maybe these twins just got really, really sick of their parents calling them the wrong names and decided to lean into the weird.
However, and I could be wrong, I thought the birthmarks correlated with how the other two died.
You could be right.
Okay.
So could the Pollock twins be a case of subconscious influence from the grieving parents? Or is there something more metaphysical at play?
I want to believe both.
You want to believe it's a truth and a lie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess you're free to believe.
I am. No, I think that very well could be the parents projecting, but I love the creep factor, and I want it to be reincarnation and true.
Okay. So, is it safe to say that you don't believe in it, but you want to?
No. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
It's like I don't
not terribly sure
what to do with that right now. No, okay. I do believe that the parents could, like I just said, the parents could have projected on it, which is probably, I don't want to say this because I don't want to admit it. It's probably what's happened.
So my take on this is I think it's absolute bullshit. I mean,
I want it to be true.
you know, I don't want to be like the guy that knows everything, and I'm not, because there's a ton of shit that I don't know. But I have spent quite a bit of time researching reincarnation and the reincarnation theories, and I have yet to see anywhere like in the Hindu religion that believes very strongly in reincarnation that claims you come back instantly to the same form that you had before, in the same family that you had before. So even if, and I don't say I believe in reincarnation, but even if I believed in reincarnation, I would have a really tough time with this. You know, according to like the Hindus, you come back to learn other shit. So you might come as an ant one time, you might come as an eagle one time, you might come back as a person the next time. You don't come back to the same exact situation.
They didn't learn everything they were meant to learn in that situation.
Yeah, but if you believe like the Hindu theory of reincarnation, they did. They learned everything that they were supposed to learn during that life, and now they come back in a different life to learn a new lesson. And I don't see where you're going to learn a whole lot different going through the pretty much the same shit you went through the first time around. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here, because I'm not a big proponent of reincarnation anyway, but I have looked at it because it's interesting and I've read on it. And
what about that little boy who thought he was the fighter pilot and he had all those stories and they were actually corroborated by the family of the guy who died?
Well, I mean, to me, that goes to a whole nother discussion, and that is the discussion of psychics. And is it possible for somebody to have psychic knowledge that some kind of a psychic gift that normal people don't have?
And little kids generally have it more because they're not as closed off.
Right.
If you believe like me.
Right. Now, with the twins, I mean, I think it's very, very likely that the grief of the parents had a huge psychological impact on these kids. I mean, we're not talking 10 years later.
Yeah.
We're talking the next year. So these parents are still heavily grieving.
Yeah.
You don't get over the loss of a child in a year. And so...
But what about the birthmarks? How do they make that happen?
I don't know. With a lot of that kind of shit, you make it fit what you want to believe. So these girls had birthmarks. Okay, well, and they had, I don't know, birthmarks. I don't know where they were. They had birthmarks on their knee. Oh, and one of the girls, her leg got cut off at the knee. So that must be what's happening. Or you just have a kid that has a freaking birthmark on her knee. I mean, the human body is not that expansive. And if it was a car wreck, chances are, I mean, it was like described as a major car accident. Chances are there's going to be injuries that correspond to a birthmark.
That's true.
And so, was it like the exact shape and everything of the injury, like it was a scar? Well, it might be a little more convincing, but that's not how it was described.
Right.
It was described as birthmarks. So, I mean, I have a birthmark on my knee. Did I get shot in the knee last go around? Or do I have a birthmark?
My dad and I have matching. So he has a scar and I have a birthmark in the exact same spot he has a scar in. I'm not saying I'm reincarnated as my dad because he's still here, thank goodness, but that's weird.
Yeah, weird shit happens for sure. Yeah.
So,
but anyway. I don't buy this one for a second. I do not.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
But how do stories like this shape our understanding or misunderstanding of reincarnation in Western societies?
That was an Ivy League question. And I have completely forgotten the question already.
Well, I'll start out with my answer and I'll see if you kick off anything from it.
I'm trying to read from here too, and I can't.
How do stories like this shape our understanding or misunderstanding of reincarnation in Western societies?
I don't know.
And I would say that reincarnation in Western societies is a relatively new concept. It has not existed in the West for very long.
Okay.
In Eastern cultures,
Yeah.
it's very prevalent, and it dates back
Well,
way into the BC era.
and they hope for it.
Right. And I mean, it's part of their religion.
Mm-hmm.
In Western religions, it is not a part of Western religions. And so I think this kind of goes to what I was saying before. I think that if you tell this story to somebody from the Western cultures, they're like, wow, yeah, that could be reincarnation. If you tell this somebody from the Eastern cultures, like Hindus, they're gonna be like, yeah, so a couple of twins were born and their parents like, psyched them out, made them think because they're not going to believe this shit. No way are they going to believe it. Because like I said, their religion teaches them what reincarnation is, why it exists, and this ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get reincarnated to come
It's the exact same
the
thing.
living person. You get reincarnated because it's like this eternal striving for perfection until you reach this perfected state. And so it's interesting that the cultures that believe strongly in reincarnation would call bullshit on this right out the gate. And the cultures that haven't historically believed it are the ones that are like, well, maybe I can see that.
I'm definitely from the West.
And again, I am not Hindu. I have a big mouth and a lot of opinions, but that doesn't make me right. I don't know. I just have no problem sharing my thoughts. So
it's just that I just love mystery so much that I want it all to be true.
Oh, I do understand.
I don't want creepy shit to happen to me. I want to watch it happen to other people. That was terrible, wasn't it?
I want to see Mothman. I seriously want to see him. I don't want to see him because like a bomb is going to explode or a bridge is going to collapse. But I want to see him because I got some stuff to say to that dude. Like,
you want to speak to him?
Oh yeah, I got a bone to pick. Like Mothman shows up, him and I are having a conversation.
Like, okay, so you're calling out an appointment with Mothman.
Damn straight I am.
All right.
But I'm also
I'm going to spend a little less time with you.
I'm also the dude that is like stood in front of a mirror for hours doing the whole Candyman and
describing
and Mary, Bloody Mary and all the stuff that's supposed to make these things appear that never does.
We all did that though.
I want Mothman to pop in here and do some splaining. That's what I want. So are birthmarks, behaviors, and preferences enough to consider someone a reincarnation? Or is that grasping at anecdotal straws?
I think it's grasping at straws.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, like I said, I do think that there are some strong arguments to be made for reincarnation. I just don't see this as one of them. Is it weird?
Yes.
Yeah. Are they freaking creepy looking?
Yes.
Yeah.
They definitely are.
Yeah, they remind me of something, but I can't place it. Maybe it's the Shining.
The twins from The Shining?
Yeah, maybe it is.
They're a little creepier than that.
But they're creepy. So I don't know, but I don't have a good answer, I guess, but I don't buy that one. But that's all I got for us tonight.
Yeah, well, Mothman, I'm glad you're packing, because if Mothman shows up...
I don't know how effective bullets are against Mothman.
You better try.
After he answers some questions, maybe. Well, he and I are going to have a talk first.
I don't think I have anything to say to that. I might record the whole thing for posterity, but...
yeah, I'll keep him busy while you flee the scene, because me and him are going to have an in-depth conversation. We might be here like tomorrow still.
How are you going to keep him here to talk?
Mothman don't know who he's up against. That's all I got to say.
What is your first question?
What the hell?
You got to have a better question than that.
Oh, no, I don't. Like, what the hell? If you know something bad's going to happen, why the hell do you just show up and scare the shit out of people?
See, that's more of a question. Yeah, I just needed you to elaborate. I mean, what are you going to do if his answer is, I'm bored?
Then I might shoot him.
Okay.
Yeah, I might try out how effective bullets are against Mothman at that point.
I love that we're having this conversation sober, and yet we're considering having a whole shelter or not.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Not a good idea at all. No.
But that's all we have for you tonight. I encourage you to, give us a like and a follow if you like what we do. If there's some crazy shit you want us to talk about, feel free to reach out to us and let us know. info@darkdialogue.com.
If you see Mothman, ask him what the hell and report back to Dawn.
Send him my way. Like, if you're out there, you see Mothman, tell him you know somebody who wants to chat. Follow us on all of our socials. Feel free to jump over to Patreon, Coffee, Substack. I've been uploading a lot of information to those sites where you can jump in and read the true crime stories that we talk about and stuff like that. So we're going to start posting episodes that are going to be strictly to subscribers. I've got a blooper reel that I'm working on, and so as soon as I have enough bloopers that'll fill an episode,
we're not showing you guys.
Yeah, I'm the one cutting it out, and it's pretty entertaining. That's going to be up. We're going to start doing some. We've also got some other exciting stuff in the works. I think we're working on a new show idea, which was submitted by listener request, and we happen to really love the idea, so we're cooking up another angle, and it's going to kind of fuse both of these. It's going to kind of fuse the true crime with the more funny, relaxed format. Yeah. So it should be interesting. Hope you guys like it. But anyway, give us a like, follow, reach out to us on social media, and we will see you next time. This has been John
and Angela,
and this is Dark Dialogue Shadow Chat. Have a great night.